Vice produced a Dark Side of the Ring episode on New Jack. It's called The Life and Crimes of New Jack, and there's been a lot. The most infamous is, of course, the mass transit incident. So we start off here with our intro. So we start off with highlights of the original ECW. And we see some of the brutality, the highlights in the 90s of ECW. It was shocking for its time, for sure. So they're showing highlights of him in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and Jim Cornette's bringing up the whole race thing. Smoky Mountain has an exclusively white audience, and he played on racial tensions. There was the NWA who were on the rise in the 90s. There was the LA riots because of the Rodney King beating. There was the, of course, O.J. Simpson trial, and he cuts a promo where he says, I want to give a shout out to O.J. Simpson. Keep up the good work. That's two less we have to worry about. So, imagine saying that today. But hey, maybe these social justice wars will probably find a way to justify it now. So, I don't know. But yeah, that's definitely crazy. The Sandman is now in this documentary, and he'll talk about New Jack. Sandman, I don't know. He's kind of an idiot. He's just gonna swear. It's hard with him because it's censored, so when he just keeps swearing, they have to pause it every 5 seconds. It's annoying. D'Lo Brown enters this documentary. I didn't even realize that he was a part of the gangsters. He was just like their bump guy. And he was their security guard. I didn't even realize that. So they go through it, and it seems like, they're mad. New Jack, he's unhappy he wasn't fighting. He's being called the N-word, but the whole point is you're in the South, and you're having a white baby and you're hanging it. That's the kind of reaction they were gonna get. So I'm not saying that it's justifying, but when you have a white baby hanging from a noose, someone's just gonna get they're gonna think of the worst thing to say to someone, say it to a black person, and they think of the N-word. They may not necessarily all be racist, but they're being racist to them. So it was one of those situations where I look at it as, I don't mind it as doing some sort of race angle. I don't have a big problem with it because every other TV show can do it, so I don't have a big problem if wrestling does it. But my whole thing is, I think for them to, I think that I had to understand the reaction they were going to get, because they're just saying really insane shit. The stuff about OJ is like, holy fuck. So, New Jack was a great heel. And when he went to ECW, his character was it was a bit different, to say the least. And to explain that is to say he was 100 times worse than what he was before that. And not necessarily in terms of a promo, but in terms of what he would do in the ring. And the violence, it's insanity. So New Jack talks about his upbringing, and not hear this. He talks about a story in which his father was an alcoholic. He hated his mom. And one day, his mother came home, and his father pulled out a knife. The father stabbed mother 5 times, but she survived, thankfully. It seemed like, with the way he was going to tell, she died, but she did survive. And she left 3 months later after almost being stabbed to death. Holy shit. And, you can see why this traumatized this kid. And he even tells a story of when his mom was leaving with him, the father shot the mom in the leg with a gun. So, yeah, okay, we know why you're fucked up, New Jack. We understand. So we're finally getting to the mass transit incident. This is what this, I think the bulk of this documentary is going to be based off of. So you have 2 security guards being interviewed. You have a midget wrestler who's going to be interviewed here. And man, this was really bad. So what pisses New Jack off, I guess, is because this kid asked if he can do a few moves on him, and it's crazy. You see the Sandman laughing hysterically because he thinks it's funny what this mass transit incident happened, but damn, this could have killed ECW. Maybe it should have. I think ECW was already hated, but after this, this was one of the worst shit. This kid's 17 years old, this Eric, and he lies about his age, and his father knew he was lying about his age because he was there with him, so he has some responsibility for this shit too. But he lies to his age, and it was going to be the Gangstas against Devon Dudley and Axel Ron, but Axel Ron has a family emergency, so no Axel. No Axel means you have to have a replacement. And what you have replacing Axel is Eric, I forget his last name. Kulos, something like that. His 17-year-old man who's fat, very fat, and he's gonna replace him. And all hell went down. Shit hit the fan. It doesn't need to be talked about anymore. It was just insanely vicious. So what happens is, after he cuts him, they go backstage, and the Sandman, this is interesting, he tells a story of, oh shit, I just saw the kid bleed to death, so almost bleed to death, so oh shit, I have to do something now. So he bleeds like crazy to try to take the heat off of it. So New Jack, the trial happens. Eric's dad, he called New Jack the N-word, according to New Jack backstage. So what happened was that was used in the jury, and what the big thing was, the midget wrestler, what he said was that the big thing is, could Eric wrestle? Eric was 17 years old. He didn't know what he was doing. That was the whole argument of his side, and eventually the defense was, well, he knew what he was doing because he had wrestled before, and eventually the midget wrestler is on the side of New Jack. New Jack promised him he'll get him into the WWE, and he does. He does have a match on at wrestling. He loses to The Rock, and they bring him with these midget wrestlers. Kind of ridiculous, but that was the whole problem, or the whole thing with this Eric Kulas was just this. He lied about his age. He knew what he lied about his age, and he knew what he was doing. He absolutely knew what he was doing, and his father messed up calling New Jack the N-word. But what New Jack did was unforgivable. He should have been in prison for it. He could have killed Eric. Sandman's actually really entertaining in this documentary, but Eric, he dies. They didn't say what it was. I don't think it was related. He didn't die because of the mass transients. I think he died from complications from fat reduction surgery. I believe that's what it was. So it wasn't necessarily related to this. But Vic Grimes, this is another big incident. New Jack did try to kill him. They talk about their rivalry. So New Jack, he tells a story of him and Vic Grimes. They jumped from the balcony. Vic didn't want to do it. It was too high. When they fell, Vic does a backflip and he lands on the side of New Jack's head, and it messes up his skull. And I think he lost vision in one eye, and I think his leg's still messed up. It cracks his skull open too, so it's a disaster. So New Jack and Vic Grimes have a rematch, the scaffold match in XPW. And when they're going to get to the scaffold, and the whole plan was for Jack to throw Vic Grimes off and land on through a bunch of tables. And what New Jack did was he bought a stun gun and he tased him on top of the scaffold like really hard, and then he throws him off and he tries to kill him basically. This is the second time New Jack should have been charged with attempted murder. He tries to kill Vic Grimes, so on the scaffold there's a whole bunch of tables up, and I've seen this clip so much as a kid. I never really knew what it was until recently, but there's a whole bunch of tables, and he's supposed to throw him off the scaffold, and he's supposed to go through the tables. Instead, what he does is he tries to throw him out of the ring, out of the ring, and the ring is there, and he wants him to land on the floor on the concrete. He'll die instantly if that happens. But what happens is he doesn't throw him hard enough, and he's 1 foot away from missing the ring. And what happens is he hits a table, he hits the ropes, he bounces back, he goes to the ground, he doesn't hit the turnbuckle. I think New Jack said he wanted him to hit the turnbuckle like Owen Hart or something. But he does not, he survives. The worst injury Vic Grimes has is a dislocated ankle, which is insanity. He survives, and New Jack should have absolutely been charged with attempted murder, but he just admitted it. It's fucking insanity. There's 2 more incidents with New Jack. The one, he beats up a 72-year-old man who doesn't sell anything, and the reason he doesn't sell anything is his gimmick, but he absolutely nearly kills this old man. He blades him, he's blood everywhere, beats the shit out of this fucking guy. And I heard he was mad at the fans. One of them called him the N-word or someone. I'm thinking to myself, look, why are you doing that to an old man? You know it's his gimmick, he doesn't sell. Then he has another incident where a kid who looks like just really scared to wrestle New Jack, who's just nervous, and he is attacking New Jack at first, and this gets really bad too. So this is in 2004. New Jack, after he stabs this guy, The guy goes. He's an idiot. He goes to the Florida prison and he asks. He says, "I'll drop the charges unless we can make an angle out of this. All throughout Florida." And New Jack says, "Drop the charges." And once they drop the charges, says, "Fuck you," and he doesn't even bother. So that guy's an idiot, to be honest. This guy, you're gonna put this guy in prison. New Jack probably should have been in prison again. He would have probably. I don't know if he would have got off this time. He's gonna go there. And that stabbing. Oh, whatever. So that wraps up this New Jack documentary. This Dark Side of the Ring. The second episode of, or actually the third episode of season 2. Crazy, yeah, definitely crazy. A psychopath. Should be imprisoned for what he did. It was just awful stuff he was doing. But, yeah, he's definitely a star because of it. He got his... There's no way, if he just acts like a normal wrestler, there's probably no way this documentary or Dark Side of the Ring gets made on this guy. But, yeah, an absolutely fucking psychopath. Just a nut job. A maniac. A madman. And he was a big star in professional wrestling in the 90s for a while because of the way he acted. But, a mass transit incident, that could have killed ECW. And maybe it should have. They did not make him or ECW look good from this. So I thought it was a good Dark Side of the Ring. Not my favorite, but I thought this was a good one. I enjoyed it. I'd recommend you watch. It's wild, to say the least.